So, as far as a high IQ mind is concerned, there is no escape from the fact that life has a pursuit to it, and you have to pursue the reality yourself. A high IQ person has no escape from this. He cannot escape it. He cannot evade this reality, and he cannot evade this pursuit. So for that high IQ person, philosophies matter. And philosophy of life is the biggest challenge and the biggest question. The purpose of life. Trying to find out what the reality is of this world. That's a big question in a high IQ mind. Now, I understand that some people would say that this is a useless discussion and this is something that is taking you away from the reality. The reality is only at hand, which you're trying to see, that is the reality, and whatever you're talking about is all theoretical stuff, and that is all philosophical, wastage and garbage, and there's nothing in that. But that is something that is what, not very high IQ people would say. The high IQ people would agree that their minds cannot work at their best if they do not have a direction. A direction, and I would also argue, and it's necessary that with direction you must have some clarity. If there's no clarity and you are, confused at sixes and sevens, then you will have a lot of trouble, understanding where your life is headed and what you're trying to do and whether you're doing good or not. So that is a question that I would like to address as a person, as a human being, as a person with intellect, with sound mind, I would say. Ulul albab, that's what Quran uses the term for the sound mind, people of the sound mind, ulul albab. So I would argue that it is very, very important for you to have a purpose in life if you're a high IQ person. If you're not a very high IQ person, even then it's very important to have a purpose in your life, because purpose drives motivation, purpose propels you and gives you a sense of direction to move forward in life and do something big in your life and, do something better for the people around. But for a high IQ person, you have no escape from philosophy, you have no escape from different philosophies and ideas of life. So, for example, as far as myself is concerned, I fall into that high IQ category. There is no escape from the fact that I have to study about the philosophies of life, different philosophies, different ideas about life. And then I also have to study about my own philosophy that I'm practicing. And if it's good, I will follow it. And if it's not, I will leave it. And so for that matter, I studied Quran, and I studied different religions and ideologies and philosophies. So in order to make an understanding and in order to make an idea of where I'm headed and what should be the direction of life. So it's very important that I should have an ideology and it should have a purpose to life, because whenever a high IQ person sees the universe, his worldview dictates that there has to be something behind the reality that we have, because he knows that his mind is much more capable than the apparent senses. So there is a sixth sense as far as the mind is concerned, because their mind, the high IQ people know that their mind is very powerful. Although it's mind, it is not as much physical as compared with the other senses, because the mind is intellect. And even then he understands that this mind is dominating the matter. So when he understands that, he naturally derives that there is a reality, a deeper reality that is hidden from the eyes when I see the universe. So there has to be something deeper that I've got to look for and understand and unravel the mystery of, as far as my purpose of life is concerned. And that is something we try to achieve when we try to pursue the purpose of life. And I would say that also on the same journey, and I'm also on the journey of pursuing myself, who I am, and the ultimate reality of life. Even though it's a difficult debate, but it is something that we cannot evade, we cannot avoid it. There is no escape from this reality. A high IQ person would agree. And I would also say that Islam in my life is not just a religion. It is not a religion only. It is more than that. It's a system, it's a movement, it's a mission. And I take it as at that higher level, which it deserves to be. It deserves to be made a mission. It deserves to be made a purpose. It gives purpose to my life, because without Islam, I wouldn't have a purpose. And that would drive me crazy, because I cannot imagine myself, wandering, without any purpose. That will put me in a very distressful condition. That will put me in a very difficult situation, and that will, add burden to my life, which I do not expect to have because of Islam. Islam has guarded me against that. Excuse me. So I would feel that Islam provides me the sense of direction and the sense of purpose and the kind of movement that I would like to have. As far as my own life is concerned, Islam provides me just that and gives me the impetus to do it. Otherwise, for a person like me, it is very hard to live this life because I wouldn't see any purpose in life if Islam is not there. And some people would argue that for that reason, I am trying to make Islam the purpose of my life. It's not there. It is there. It's something that I've inferred. It's not something that I've invented because I felt that there should be a purpose. Well, if that was the feeling that there are so many other ideologies that I can make them my purpose of life and they give me motivation too. But I cannot make them the purpose of my life because I know they're not the realities. So the reality I'm trying to find, only Islam so far is giving me that reality check. No other philosophy, no other ideology is giving me that reality. No other reality, no other philosophy or ideology is addressing to the core questions that I have except Islam. So that is the reason that Islam is becoming my core philosophy, core ideology, and also my core mission and my core purpose. And this is why Islam has become so much important as far as my life is concerned. Otherwise, I would like to live a life of my own because I'm a kind of person who is very independent in terms of his decision making. I would not involve any other persons in my decision making. I wouldn't possibly even consult my own best friends in my decision making. So in that sense, I would call myself a very self-centered person in terms of decision making. But then, when Islam has penetrated, and I would say that has started to penetrate in my life, I would say that I have started to take into account the considerations that Islam has forced me to take into consideration. I have started to look for how things would work out in the future, and including future is my hereafter life. So now my decisions are not just the decisions that are based on my worldly knowledge of my empirical senses, which my five senses, or even including my six senses, they are providing the knowledge and the information. I'm not just including that information, I'm also taking into consideration what's happening in the bigger levels, afterlife. That is something that I'm taking into account, and I think it is giving me some motivation and propelling me to do well. And what's the purpose of life if you're not trying to do your best in whatever capacity you can? You have to be the best of the best. And I know it's a very challenging statement because some people would argue that it's a very hard thing to say and it's a very hard thing to fulfill. Well, in my mind, I think we have to strive for the best. We have to strive for the number one spot. That is my way of thinking. Anybody can disagree with that way of thinking, but that's at least my way of thinking, that we should strive for the best of the best. And we should follow the best of the best. We should be the best of the best. Ihsan has to be the purpose. Now, those of you who are not familiar with what ihsan is the essence of Islam. Islam, has an outer layer, and then there's an inner layer, and inside that inner layer, the core is ihsan. So you can say that these are different levels of iman. The first level is called Islam, where you are a believer, you apparently are a Muslim, that's fine. But then there's a second level, which is a deeper level. You become a mu'min, you become a believer, in a sense that you are truly internalizing the teachings of Islam, and you are following and practicing your religion, which is Islam. And then there's a third level, which is the deepest level, which is the pursuit to reality, and which is, understanding that you are here for a bigger purpose and playing that bigger game to a level where, you always calculate keeping inside the reality that is coming right after this, all of it is over. And that is, I would argue, the ihsan should be the purpose. I know I'm not at that level. I know that many of us are not at that level, but we cannot, evade this level. High IQ people cannot escape from this reality. So we must try to do it as soon as possible. Thank you very much.